When it comes to disastrous AAA game releases, Anthem is at the top of the list. Looking at Metacritic right now, you'll see that the scores are generally pretty low because of a buggy release, lacking in content, the loot progression was not well implemented, the core mechanics were kind of interesting with how the javelins handle, but that's about it. The content had no substance, the story was not BioWare caliber. I could just go on. And over the last few months, BioWare has kind of been in hibernation, trying to overhaul Anthem to be an experience that people actually expected on launch date in terms of polish, content, substance, you name it. So on September 5th, 2019, we saw Casey Hudson write a blog post about plans for fundamental improvements which will take time. Then after that, on September 17th, 2019, Chad Robertson here talked about how we hear your concerns on core issues in Anthem and are acting on it. And it wasn't long after that Jason Schreier, investigative reporter, published on Kotaku that BioWare is in fact planning a complete overhaul for Anthem. This is an article published on November 15th, 2019. Those rumors were very quickly confirmed. On February 10th, 2020, Casey Hudson wrote that Anthem would require a more substantial reinvention than an update or expansion, confirming the report. Then, on May 15th, 2020, it was announced that Christian Daly, who is studio director for the BioWare Austin office, would be leading the production of Anthem next. And so throughout 2020, we would see a number of updates regarding the overhaul. So right here on July 31st, 2020, Christian posted an update on how they plan to create a satisfying loot experience, showing some screenshots of overhauled elements. A few months later, on October 28th, 2020, Christian Daly posted the following blog post discussing Javelin gameplay and builds, and below you'll find all that information accompanied by the appropriate screenshots and GIFs to highlight these features. But diving into the new year, 2021, Anthem finds itself at an important juncture. EA executives are finally stepping in to take a look at how BioWare has progressed with Anthem, and seeing whether this is a project that is worth continuing to invest in, or if it's a project that should be abandoned. The following information was reported by Jason Schreier in a Bloomberg article whose headline reads, Electronic Arts to decide fate of Anthem game this week. And then scrolling down, you'll find some information about the development of the overhaul, with discussions of how BioWare put together a small team to overhaul the game, how executive producer Christian Daly took over, but then in December, Daly left the Anthem team as part of a BioWare management shakeup, leaving the project's fate in question. We did indeed see a major management shakeup throughout December. On December 3rd, recall that both Mark Dara and Casey Hudson announced their departure from BioWare. These are longtime veterans, pillars of BioWare who decided to up and leave. And then beyond that, Christian Daly was taken out of the Anthem Next project and put in charge of Dragon Age 4. And correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I don't think we have heard who is in charge of Anthem now. There hasn't been much in the way of updates surrounding that overhaul, which is disconcerting. But this week, EA executives will be reviewing the latest version of Anthem Next and decide whether to expand the team or abandon the project, said the people who asked not to be named, discussing private information. Now, the Anthem Next or the Anthem overhaul team is pretty small. It's only about 30 people. And I have to wonder how much progress they managed to make with this smaller team, with this game that requires a huge amount of overhauling, a huge amount of reworking. We're talking about an indie studio-sized team that's been tasked with a massive overhaul of a major AAA title. I'm wondering how much can they do throughout the course of a year and a half. I'm curious as to whether Anthem Next, in the state that EA executives will see it, is enough of a departure from the rough original launch that it'll give EA executives confidence that there is a future here. I don't know. I have a bad feeling personally. It just doesn't seem like BioWare was really given the manpower and resources. Anthem Next gives off the impression that there's basically a skeleton crew working on it, rather than a dedicated team that EA is fully investing in. I mean, the fact that they're now deciding whether to expand the team or not does not give me confidence that EA is actually as fully committed to this as they've previously claimed. So yeah, a team of 30 people, and if Anthem Next were to be expanded, it would need to triple its team size in order to produce new content and continue attempting to overhaul the game. EA has not yet indicated whether it's willing to commit that kind of budget to revive a maligned game. To me, it feels like BioWare is stretched thin as it is, with Dragon Age 4 coming up, and all hands no doubt need to be on deck for that title to release on time. I don't know if they can spare the resources and manpower for an Anthem overhaul that may not end up being all that successful, that may not be enough of an overhaul akin to, I don't know, FF14 Realm Reborn to be worthwhile. You know, there's an argument to be made that it would be cool if Anthem Next turned out to be a really fantastic overhaul, if it turned out that these 30 people somehow pulled it together, managed to really impress EA executives, and when Anthem Next does release, it somehow ends up being this really great comeback story. Now, that would be an ideal scenario, but just under the circumstances from everything that I'm seeing, I feel like it's time for BioWare to cut their losses on Anthem and get back to what they do best, or I guess what they used to do best. We'll see what happens with Dragon Age 4, but making epic single-player role-playing experiences. They were clearly out of their depth with a shared world, multiplayer looter experience that also tried to meld the narrative nuances of single-player storytelling, which, you know, it felt to me like a very difficult task that I was hoping they would succeed on, but they failed pretty miserably on that front. Unless Anthem Next is leagues better than the original, I don't get the sense that a whole lot of people will be interested in coming back to Anthem again, given there's so many new games coming out now. Many of them, you know, live services, looters. The market is so saturated now, and if Anthem had launched in a proper state, it maybe would have been able to sustain itself and compete with the other looters out there. But yeah, I feel like it's too little too late at this point. Though I'm not ruling out the possibility that these 30 people may end up surprising. But overall, I'm more concerned than anything. I'm more pessimistic about the future of Anthem. It sounds like overall EA is hesitant about Anthem Next, and that it's more likely they'll kill it off. As for EA's response to all this, well, they said, you know, we don't comment on rumors and speculation. But they're not denying any of this, and given Jason Schreier's track record with Anthem coverage and his investigative reports, I'm more inclined to believe him that this is for real, and that we'll soon hear whether Anthem somehow makes it through this EA executives review process, or if Anthem Next will be no more and Anthem will forever just die off and be remembered as the lowest point of BioWare yet. I will say this, though, if they do end up killing Anthem Next, I'm going to feel real bad for the skeleton crew of 30 people or so who were working on this project and were really trying their best to do what they could to revive this title, only for their efforts to fail. Like that's a shitty feeling, no doubt, to work on something for months, for I think over a year now, only for it to not bear any fruit. Yeah, I can sympathize with that. But if it ultimately helps BioWare move on to greener pastures, maybe it's best to just leave this failed project where it belongs. Though again, if this somehow turns around in a major way, I would be all for that too. But who knows whether that can happen. But that's just one man's take. Let me know in the comments below what you think EA should do. Do you think they should give Anthem Next a chance, or do you think they should kill it off? And what do you think they'll actually end up doing? Drop a comment, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.